on my website. So I want to break down things into two aspects. One is the inputs. The second is the goals. Okay. Most economic models basically have these two aspects. Okay. You have some kind of goal. A consumer, as I said before, is typically trying to maximize their utility, which means their well-being or their happiness. A producer is typically trying to maximize their profits, which could also mean their ability to stay in business, their sustainability as a business. Okay. They have various inputs and constraints to get to these goals. Okay. So the input and the goals. Let's start with the goals first. So this economic model says that the ultimate goal is utility. Okay. And I use a subscript of T here. So T symbolizes that it's not just a one period model. It's a dynamic model. So happiness of somebody changes over time. So in all, what we'll get to is that we want to not only be happy now, but we want to try to maximize our happiness over the course of our lives. So the goal is to maximize utility over the lifetime. All right, so max U, maximizing utility. So again, what does utility mean? If you want to put down here, utility represents well-being. For me, that's the term I like to use, and a lot of my research is on that. Other economists put it in terms of happiness. Okay, but U stands for utility. Okay. So we get utility through two other sub goals related to utility. And the more we have of these sub goals, the greater our utility is. Okay. And the sub goals are twofold. The first sub goal in this model is the sub goal of health. Okay. As I increase my stock of health, okay, being fit, having a strong immunity system, it makes me happier in and of itself. Okay, as I said, because I can enjoy more things. If I have a physical job, I can do that, et cetera, et cetera. It frees up my livelihood. It frees up my opportunities for life. So health is also a goal, but it increases our overall utility. Okay. Economic models simplify things. Okay. And, typically we'll just talk about, in a lot of these models, we just talk about two things. We simplify the world into looking at maybe something we're especially interested in, and then everything else. Okay. So how they denote everything else is Z. Okay. Z represents other things we do in life, the other aspects of life, the non-health aspects of life that we want to achieve as goals, perhaps having friends, perhaps, giving a good life for our children, perhaps vacationing, hobbies, etc. Okay, Z is also something that the more we do of it is wholesome in itself, but it's part of this overall well-being or utility measure. Okay, so these are the goals. H sub T and Z sub T feed into U. Okay, U sub T. And just by the way, what I just said is put into mathematical formula here. Okay, when I say this, and the book says this, U sub T is equal to utility is a function of health and these other things. math is much more efficient and precise in saying things, but you have to be able to interpret the math. And that's what I just spent the last 5 minutes doing. Okay. So economics, math, they put it into that term, and but you're expected to know in the background that what I just said here. Okay. I did the long approach. All right. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is help you consume and interpret these economic models. Okay, so U is a function of health and these other goods. Okay. Second part here is, to obtain health, we have to have a couple of things. All right. We have to invest in certain types of things, that allow us to be healthier. Okay. And these are the inputs into health. With just that description, can anybody give me an example of a input that you might have to buy that helps you become healthier? Can anybody give me an example of something that you might have done personally, or someone you know have done personally? What are a few examples of these types of inputs into health? What do you think we mean here?
Vaccines.
Vaccines. So yes, vaccine is a good example. What's another one that's less dramatic, say?
Vitamin.
Yes, thank you, Mitch. A gym membership. That's a great example, right? Gym memberships cost money every month, and you put that money in, and that hopefully helps you get healthier. Very good. Someone else was about to add something.
Vitamins.
Vitamins, yes, yep, vitamins, and we'll talk a little bit more about vitamins, how they have different effects for different people. What's a few other examples?
Maybe just better food options, healthier food options.
Yeah, yeah. Going to a grocery store, buying your fruits and veggies, having a well-balanced diet. These are things that are typically more expensive than less nutritious foods. Okay, that tend to have more sodium, less nutritious vitamins and minerals in them, and are, may have be made of high fructose corn syrup that do just the opposite. Okay, but it's more expensive to eat healthy generally. Good. An example I like to use is this year, of course, I'm not, but I try to run a couple of half marathons every year. And about 5 years ago, I was doing it, but I was getting all these heel and ankle and knee problems. And I went to the shoes. I just buy my shoes, buy shoes based on cost, really. But I went to the shoe store here in town on Philly Street, the Gingerbread Man, and they looked at how I walked and how I ran, and they had me try on different shoes, and they said that my shoes were too little. So they just did a few simple things and helped me find shoes. And these shoes were 3 times as much as what I'd usually pay. They were like, $150 rather than just $50. And they were a couple of sizes bigger. And I have not had knee or ankle or health problems since then. And I go back and I buy new shoes, and it is not something I would have done before. But it is an input into my health, because if my knees aren't hurting and my ankles aren't hurting, then I'm running more. And if I'm running more, I'm getting outside, I'm alleviating stress, I feel healthier and better, and I feel like I'm accomplishing something. The shoes money into the shoes into health, the health into happiness. That's the causal chain here. That's the causal chain that this health capital model is trying to represent. Okay, so just as these M goods, these health related goods, gym memberships, shoes, etc. Let's make a note here. So for example, we're talking about shoes, running shoes, gym memberships, vitamins, vaccines. Okay, just as we have inputs into health, which health into happiness, as I just laid out, we also have J goods. J goods. And J, again, are the inputs into these other aspects of life that bring us happiness. Like I said, if we're focusing on our kids, I invest in piano lessons for them because I am not a musician, and I think that's something that was missing in my life. And I think that will help them later throughout their lives. It'll bring them joy, and it brings me joy to hear them piddling on the piano. I like having friends over, doing it outside and socially distanced. So I have a nice setup in my backyard. Okay, those are two examples of things I'm investing in. Outside chairs, piano lessons that increase the well-being and happiness in my other aspects of life. Okay, so but it acts just the same way. The other important aspect, the other important input into all this stuff is the time that we have, T. Okay, the time we have at any given moment. Okay, time goes here in terms of time that we spend in health activities. More time spent wearing my running shoes, increases my health. So not only do I need to put money into the gym membership and the tennis shoes, but Mitch, what happens if you buy the gym membership but never go? I'm asking Mitch since he gave the example of the gym membership. We all know, don't we? And a lot of people do that, don't they? Yeah, it's a waste. Yeah. If you're not putting in the time, you're not getting anything out of it. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people, gyms are kind of set up to give specials after the first of the year when people are trying to make these long-term commitments for their health, and they may have 10% off for a few months, and then they keep charging your credit card or whatever. If I buy these fancy running shoes and I don't wear them, I'm not getting any healthier. So time is also a complementary input with the resources I'm using. Okay, so more time, and time can, even if I have less resources, if I put in more time, I'm going to get healthier. Okay, but these things go together. So time is used for health, and time, this overall time aspect, can be used towards those other things, right? Time practicing and doing homework with my kids to improve their lives, improves my life. Time with friends, on my nice lawn furniture. I don't have nice lawn furniture. I need to repaint it. Okay, but again, time is another input. So these three inputs, time, M goods, and these J goods, that's what feeds us and gives us these goals. Okay. All right. So the demand, the first part of going back to the model, the first part of the model is that we demand things because they make us happy. Okay. They increase our utility. Thus we have a higher demand. We want to achieve good health. We also want to achieve other things in our life. To achieve, because it achieves good health, we have an impetus to demand and consume and buy health-related goods. Shoes, gyms, vitamins, health insurance. We have a demand for it. Thus, we go back into economic demand theory. Okay? And we have demand for other goods that do these things. Okay? And we have the more we, I'll leave that there. Okay? We have constraints. We have goals, and that leads to demand for these goods, but we also have constraints, namely time. We don't have infinite amounts of time. So our time is scarce. Okay, so let's put kind of side notes over here. Okay, things that we want to be sure that we're getting out of this is that we have a demand for these M goods, things that improve our health. Okay, we want to be aware that time is scarce. Okay, we don't have infinite amounts of time. All right, and that'll become even more important in a minute.